Stop, stop. Hey, stop, stop.
You're gonna get it again.
Stop.
Hey, hey.
Lay down.
For those of you who aren't familiar with the following story, this story, in just my own opinion, is up there as one of the most nonsensical, frivolous cases I've ever seen or heard of. As disturbed as the following footage tends to make a lot of human beings feel, the story also has to it an added twist that we'll make sure and go over when we discuss the aftermath. With that said, let's get started.
Stop! 422 St. John's. 1012, single 13 PE. Hispanic male, white t-shirt, black shorts, Super 8, 16, 3576, should be 54 to me. Stop.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, why, when I was driving around... Stop.
Eating.
Okay, but why did you get up and walk away?
Huh?
When you saw me, you got up and walked away. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
But you meet me, I go for drinking.
Where are you staying?
Huh?
Where are you staying? Sleeping?
I say, yeah.
Here?
Yes.
Well, why aren't you eating inside?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
What?
I'm sorry. Speaks.
Okay, I've got some comment. Okay, do you have any ID and identification license?
What?
ID, identification.
Yeah.
In the room?
Yeah.
Okay, what's your first name?
Huh?
Your first name.
I'm sorry. I'm speaking.
Okay, do you have any weapons on you?
Huh?
You have any weapons on you?
No.
Well, you know what that is. Turn around, let me look.
No.
Turn around.
No.
Turn around.
But no.
Don't walk away from me.
No, sorry.
Don't pull away from me. I'm checking you for what? Get your hands away from your...
No.
Stop.
No.
Stop.
No. I'm sorry. Oh. No, I'm sorry.
Stop.
I'm sorry.
Turn around.
Get on the ground.
Hey, I'm sorry.
Get on the ground.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Stop.
Get on the ground.
Hands behind your back now.
No, boy, you
You want to be tased?
Behind your back.
Huh?
You want tased?
Put your hands behind your back.
Get on the ground.
No problem.
Give me your hands.
Sorry.
Give us your hands.
Sorry.
Give us your hands.
I'm sorry.
Divorce.
I'm sorry.
2477, you can
I'm sorry.
46.
I'm sorry. Hey, familia.
Stop! Let's go!
Is he going after your gun?
422 to 25, January 16.
No. Hey. No, mi familia. Mi family.
I'm going to tase you.
Family.
Stop!
Family.
Put your hands behind you.
Family.
Put your hands behind your back.
It's family.
Turn around!
Hey,
Put your hands.
No.
Give us your hands.
No. Your dream.
Hands.
Huh?
Hands.
Hands.
Lay on your stomach.
I'm sorry, no speak English.
Lay on your stomach.
Stop.
Roll over.
Stop. Hey, stop.
You're going to get it again.
Huh? Stop.
Give us your hands.
I mean, family. Hey, family. Yeah.
Stop.
Hey.
Alright, I got one.
Get my taser.
Hey.
Let go of the cheese. You got off? Stop!
No, stop. Está bien, stop.
Stop!
Está bien.
Roll over.
Está bien.
Roll over!
Está bien, espera. Ay,
Roll over.
vas, you good. Hey.
Grab his left hand.
Hey. Mío. I'm sorry.
Lay down.
Ay.
Lay down.
Espera. Ay.
Stop!
Hey. Ay.
Lay down!
hands on your back! Put your hands on your back, now!
Stop, stop! Hey!
Stop!
I got his right hand. He just won't put it on.
Stop!
Hey, shut up and listen! Put your hands behind your back!
Hey, you go,
You want to get tased?
I'm going to find
Not
me.
even tase.
Hey!
There's one.
Got one?
Hey! Hey!
He's getting up on his knees.
Find me! Mi familia!
There you go.
Mi familia! Hey! Mi familia!
Put this back. Just
That cuffs.
Hey! Mi familia! Hey!
give me this arm, now! Give me this arm!
Alright, give me the other arm. Got him.
Got it?
Stop. 4477. Downgrade everybody else.
477, copy 1, secure downgrade, additional units at 2110.
Catch my breath some more.
Yeah.
Help me out.
As messed up as that footage just was, believe it or not, things actually get much, much stranger after the cameras get turned off. Remember that this is the body cam footage belonging to Sergeant Michael Kunovich. This is going to be important to know in just a moment. Now, from this footage, which is all the footage available to the public at the time of this recording, you can see that it cuts out just a little after the point that it would appear as if the suspect has been handcuffed. FYI real quick, this young man isn't let go after this. No, they keep him in those cuffs. They arrest him initially on charges of seriously God knows what, and he's transported straight down to jail. Except, and here comes the even more unbelievable part of this whole story, when the young man is booked and charged, it's not on some trumped up charge of trespassing or evading arrest or Lord knows what. What the teenage boy gets charged with is murder. And if you're thinking at this point that maybe this kid had some warrant out or something, that isn't the case at all. The young man, who we'll get to know more in just a second, up until that moment had a record that was absolutely 100% clean. This kid had never so much as even had a run-in with law enforcement anywhere prior to this. But wait, because there's still one more seriously messed up aspect to this story. And that comes in when we have a look at whose murder the kid is being charged with. Believe it or not, but the person the young man is accused of murdering is none other than the sergeant whose body cam footage we just watched. Let me make perfectly clear that the body cam footage you just saw is all the footage that there is to see. After the young man was handcuffed, he went directly from the ground to the back of a squad car and subsequently down to the precinct, a sequence which presumes that he never even really encountered the sergeant again. So how is it that he's now being accused of murdering that very sergeant? I told you this story gets weird, and I'm going to do my best to answer these questions for you. But first, let's A, learn a bit about who our teenage suspect is, and B, clear up some of the potentially confusing things we saw on the footage. And we'll also learn about Sergeant Kunovich in due time. To quickly recap, it's a Friday night in St. Johns County, Florida, at a little past 9 p.m. in May of 2023. Sergeant Michael Kunovich is a 25-year veteran of the St. John's Sheriff's Office in St. Augustine, Florida, and our footage starts off with Sergeant Kunovich walking up on a young man wearing a plain white t-shirt and shorts. Kunovich advances on the young man quickly. We don't really have a lot of backstory in terms of the moments that preclude the first part of this recording, but all we see is basically the young man just kind of standing there on the side of the street. Kunovich immediately starts commanding the young man to stop, and he advances in on him. This young man is going to turn out to be 18-year-old Virgilio Aguilar-Mendez. At 17 years old, less than 1 year earlier, Virgilio left his home village in Guatemala and came to stay with some other relatives, an uncle and then an aunt, I believe, in the United States. Virgilio's hope in doing all of this was to secure some kind of work in the United States, as he would later go on to say he was hoping to earn a few bucks so that he could send his family maybe a bite of corn or something to eat. Long story short, Virgilio would eventually end up meeting some people who told him there might be some work available for him in St. Augustine. Virgilio, always eager to help his family and apparently always thinking of them first, jumped at this opportunity. And as of that day, upon which he would have his fateful encounter with the St. Augustine Sarge, Virgilio had been sharing a room with 3 other migrant workers whom he'd recently met. Every morning for the last 3 weeks, the 18-year-old has been driven out to one of the vast St. Augustine farms where he's spent each day picking vegetables. And according to sources, Virgilio, being a good kid, despite maybe lacking the education that a kid his age would have had in the U.S., has been true to his word, meaning that every bit of money he earns has been sent back to Guatemala in order to help feed not only his parents, but his younger brothers and sisters as well. Sergeant Michael Kunovich never bothers to inquire into any of this, however. One part of the body cam footage we actually don't get to have shown to us for whatever reason is the part that shows what Sergeant Kunovich sees the first time he spots Virgilio when he's driving down the street. Luckily for us, though, his own words do help fill us in on what it is he observed to some extent. Let's have another look at that opening sequence.
Stop! 422 St. John's. 10-12, single 13 PE, Hispanic male, white t-shirt, black shorts, super brand 3016, 3576, you be 54 on me. Stop.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, why, when I was driving around, stop.
Eating.
Okay, but why did you get up and walk away?
Huh?
When you saw me, you got up and walked away. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
But you meet me here, I go party, drinking.
Where are you staying?
Huh?
Where are you staying? Sleeping?
I say, yeah.
Here?
Yes.
Well, why aren't you eating inside?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
What?
I'm sorry. Speaks.
Okay, I've got some comment.
Virgilio Aguilar-Mendez, who, standing a mere 5'4" tall and weighing in at 115 pounds, makes it clear several times throughout the upcoming altercation that he speaks and understands virtually little to no English. But for now, from the kid's point of view, here comes a cop firing at him a barrage of questions, a vast majority of which he can't understand. We can see him trying to explain to the deputy all that he can, a process which evidently isn't working out too well. And to me, to be quite frank, the way the deputy comes up on him, it almost seems as if said deputy isn't even all that interested in what answers the boy has to give. Nonetheless, as per Sergeant Kunovich's demands, Virgilio is able to explain that he's staying at the Super 8 motel. He also attempts to explain that he was outside the motel eating. Later, we will go on to find out that Virgilio had been talking on the phone with his mother at the time. And in these opening scenes, we can clearly see him holding his cell phone as he's telling all of this to the cop.
Okay, do you have any ID, an identification, license?
But
ID, identification.
yeah.
In the room?
Yeah.
Okay, what's your first name?
Huh?
Your first name?
I'm sorry. I'm speaking.
Okay, do you have any weapons on you?
Huh?
You have any weapons on you?
No.
By this point, it feels like we've got a questionable scenario here already. As you can clearly hear, the Sarge demands to know a bunch of things. Where does he live? What is he doing? And then why is he eating outside as opposed to inside if that's where he's staying? It already almost seems like the Sarge has a bone to pick with this kid. Why should anyone, that's of age especially, be required to explain why he's outside eating? It really shouldn't matter. On the footage, we see how Kunovich hardly takes a few seconds to listen to Virgilio's explanation, if he's even owed one, before the questions get progressively and quickly more demanding and invasive. Kunovich also demands to see ID, which the young man tries to explain is back in his room, but which the Sarge suddenly doesn't seem to care about anymore. The cop is also heard asking Virgilio if he's got any weapons on him. It's at about this point that Sergeant Michael Kunovich just snaps and demands to search Virgilio for what appears to be absolutely no reason, after which everything escalates within instants and the Sarge begins trying to tackle this teenager to the ground.
Turn around, let me look. Turn around. Turn around.
But no.
Don't walk away from me.
No, sorry.
Don't pull away from me. I'm checking you for what? Get your hands away from your...
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Turn around.
Get on the ground!
Hey, man, I'm sorry.
Get on the ground!
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Stop.
Get on the ground!
Hands behind your back now.
No, boy, you
You want to get tased?
Behind your back.
You want tased?
Put your hands behind your back.
Get on the ground!
no problem.
Give me your hands!
Sorry.
Give us your hands!
Sorry.
Give us your hands!
I'm sorry. Hey, familia.
Stop! Let's go, 15.
No. Hey. No, mi familia. Mi family.
I'm gonna tase you!
And then from that point on, it gets even more ugly. The rest of this really speaks for itself, although I will just point out how throughout the clip, we see Virgilio subdued by several cops that appear to be much larger than him. I also would venture to guess that Virgilio really has no clue as to what's going on or why he's being jumped in this manner, and that is confirmed later on, that he indeed had no clue. The cops tase him, I don't know how many times, and we can hear him crying out, "Stop!" We can hear him screaming and shouting, "No!" And he also takes action to try and defend himself. His screams of pain are terms which I think we can agree are pretty universal, regardless of what language you speak, but there are times, like right here, for example, where they appear to tase him for literally no reason.
Hey. Grab his left hand. Hey. You. I'm sorry.
Lay down. Lay down. Stop.
Hey.
Lay down.
The cops seem totally unbothered throughout this whole mess, by the way. Nor do any of them seem to care that the kid doesn't speak English, meaning that he doesn't understand their orders, which in turn they don't seem to understand is going to make it pretty hard for the kid to obey them, even if he wanted to. And of course, to add insult to injury, they then punish him by tasing him essentially for not obeying the very commands they know he can't understand.
Put your hands behind your back.
It's on me.
Turn around.
Put your hand.
No.
Use your hands.
Three.
Hands.
Huh?
Hands.
Pins.
Lay on your stomach.
I'm sorry, no speak English.
Lay on your stomach.
Stop. Hey, stop.
You're gonna get it again.
Huh? Stop.
Give us your hands.
I mean, family. Hey, family. Yeah.
Stop.
Hey.
Alright, I got one.
In the end, I think we need to remember that this footage doesn't lie. And what I'm seeing unfold here is how clearly, the more that this escalates, the more brutish these offending officers appear to become. I mean, do they even know why they're doing any of this? When did Sergeant Kunovich even have the time to debrief these guys? Because honestly, I missed that part. And yet it must have happened for the fact that nobody ever once stops to question why they're even doing what it is that they're doing to this young, helpless man.
Stop.
No, stop. Está bien, stop.
To most people I've observed watch this footage, this is nothing more than a violation of human beings' civil rights, pure and simple. A much beloved sergeant, as you're going to see, determines a man to be suspicious on account of virtually nothing. He stops him for no reason, detains him for no reason, proceeds to try and search him for no reason, after which he tases him a bunch of times for no reason, and together with a whole brigade of backup cops, beats the shit out of him for no reason, ultimately arrests him for no reason, with plans to charge him, of course, with no reason. If you go by what we just watched, you might be apt to think that this is where the story all pretty much ends, except that isn't going to be the case at all. Even though the video happens to cut off for us, the story is far from over. The part that I really wanted to get to was the part that makes this case the truly uniquely horrendous case that it is. Basically, just after the part we see at the end, with Virgilio lying there handcuffed on his stomach and a couple of beefy officers kneeling next to him looking smug at their accomplishment. It's said that roughly about 5 minutes after Virgilio is placed under arrest, that's when Sergeant Michael Kunovich suffers from a heart attack and he dies. The sergeant's death is later determined to be the result of natural causes, and Virgilio Aguilar-Mendez goes on to be charged with murder with regard to the death of Sergeant Michael Kunovich. I don't get how this could even happen. At the time of this recording, right now, Virgilio Aguilar-Mendez has been languishing inside a jail cell for almost an entire year while awaiting his trial. Charges which, by the way, were at some point dropped from murder to aggravated homicide of a police officer or something along those lines, which doesn't make any difference in principle. Since that very night you saw him standing outside of his hotel room and just casually, innocently eating some food and talking to his mother in Guatemala, the boy has not walked a single day as a free man. And of course, presumably, once Virgilio has been adequately taught these concepts and is then deemed fit to stand trial, he will stand trial. And that is, of course, the part that I find to be absolutely insane. Even a coroner determined that the Sarge had died of natural causes. How could Virgilio have caused that man, or any man, to have died of natural causes? It's a pretty universally accepted fact that stress can contribute to the onset of a heart attack and other similar conditions. But if that's the case, then how can one point the finger first at Virgilio when it's also pretty well known that being a police officer is just simply a stressful job? The stress is something you have to accept as coming along with the territory. If you're prone to getting stressed out easily, or you have a history of heart problems in your family, then that's on you if you still make the choice to become a police officer anyway. Even if emotional distress did in some way make a slight contribution to the sergeant's heart giving out on him, I'm sorry, but you can't agree to put yourself in a position that's going to cause you stress and then blame somebody else for that later. The thing is that we can't ever actually know what caused this man's heart attack, even if we accept that it was the direct result of stress and stress alone. Well, even so, how do we know which stressor was the one that caused the heart attack? How do we know it was even one stressor and not like 3 stressors or 10 stressors? I mean, why even Virgilio? The cop displayed such an angry, aggressive, and overly agitated demeanor throughout the whole encounter that night that I'm sorry to say it, but to me, under other circumstances, I wouldn't have been the least bit surprised to learn that a person of this disposition had an underlying heart condition. Something just reeks about this whole situation. But you know what? Please don't even take my word for it. Let's have a more technical look at what a heart attack is exactly and discuss just a little bit about what might cause a heart attack. According to the Mayo Clinic, a heart attack occurs when an artery that sends blood and oxygen to the heart is blocked. Fatty cholesterol-containing deposits build up over time, forming plaques in the heart's arteries. If a plaque ruptures, a blood clot can form. The clot can block arteries, causing a heart attack. During a heart attack, lack of blood flow causes the tissue in the heart muscle to die. A heart attack is also called a myocardial infarction. Having a quick look at this illustration, also courtesy of the Mayo Clinic, may help to better understand what exactly a heart attack is or what occurs amidst one. The clinic's page goes on to explain how, yes, even though some heart attacks strike suddenly, many people have warning signs and symptoms hours, days, or weeks in advance. So there really is no way of telling or ever seriously arguing that one specific thing is what caused a person's heart attack. In order for Kunovich to have suffered a heart attack on the night in question, he would have most likely have to have had a pre-existing condition wherein a bunch of cholesterol, thick blood platelets, or just anything that they refer to collectively as plaque, was already clogging up his arteries to a significant degree. This, by the way, is a process that takes time, always. It cannot be induced by stress. What a stressful situation might be able to do at this point is to increase a person's blood pressure and heart rate, let's say. In the end, you've got to believe me that to have the audacity to try and pin this kind of an effect or reaction on a teen boy's resistance to being wrongfully searched or to being repeatedly tased, it's ludicrous on so many levels, and it doesn't make sense from a purely medical standpoint. Also, in the spirit of fairness, let's quickly talk about what a revered person that ex-Sergeant Kunovich was. This is a video that shows his elegant funeral procession as it makes its way down a street. It's pretty fancy, you've got to admit. Definitely more than most of us could probably ever realistically hope for ourselves. Then we've got a glimpse into his funeral. This is, if anyone's curious, a Catholic ceremony. But as you might have noticed, they really went all out in hiring the foreign priest and not to mention the ASL interpreter. I don't know if this is supposed to convince us of how embracing of people's cultural differences the ex-sergeant was, but if this doesn't go to show you, maybe his obituary will. Michael Paul Kunovich was born on September 5th, 1970 in Youngstown, Ohio, which would make him 52 years old at the time of the incident involving Virgilio. Kunovich was one of 5 siblings, and it is said that from a young age he had come to develop a powerful sense of justice and duty. This strong drive compelled him to pursue a degree in law enforcement, and he felt that Florida was the ideal place for him to pursue this calling, a career which, at the time of this altercation, spanned just a little over 25 years. In 1977, Kunovich joined the St. John's Sheriff's Office. According to those who know him best, in this position he would thrive while, quote, embarking on a journey that would leave an indelible mark on the greater community. Kunovich would work as a reserve deputy and then go on to become a full-time senior law enforcement deputy, as well as a senior internal affairs detective and a patrol shift leader. During this time, Kunovich was the recipient of various awards. This included a service award, which he got in 2003 and 2013, not to mention an exceptional service award, which was granted to him in 2010. Kunovich didn't stop there, though. He would go on to earn a bachelor's degree in public administration while he simultaneously served on the SWAT team for 5 years. To quote the same source as before, throughout his tenure, he faced numerous challenges with unwavering resolve and unyielding commitment to uphold the law and ensure the safety of the community. He exhibited natural leadership skills and instilled a sense of purpose and dedication in those around him. Michael was an example of what it meant to be a law enforcement officer and public servant, embodying the values of integrity, courage, and selfless sacrifice. Interestingly, Kunovich is not only portrayed as a hero in his professional life, but in his personal life as well. Going on to father 2 sons, Kunovich has been lauded as a quote-unquote caring father, cherished brother, mentor, and friend, who is known for quote-unquote his warm smile, laughter, and willingness to help all those in need. This is in rather stark contrast to the man we hear boisterously and angrily interrogating the young man he stops outside of the Super 8 motel in May of 2023. The source continues to praise Kunovich, stating that, quote, his kindness and compassion for others extended far beyond the confines of his uniform. Given this rare opportunity, let's take another look at just some of the highlights of that night so we can really see this degree of dedication to justice and duty in action.
Stop! 10-12, single 13P, Hispanic male, white t-shirt, black shorts. Stop. Okay, why, when I was driving around... Okay, but why did you get up and walk away? When you saw me, why? You got up and walked away. Why? Where are you staying? Here? Sleep. Well, why aren't you eating inside? Okay, I've got somebody coming. Okay, do you have any ID and identification? ID in the room. Identification. Okay, what's your first name? First name. Okay. Do you have any weapons on you? Any weapons on you? Well, you know what that is. Turn around. Let me look. Turn around. Turn around. Don't walk away from me. Don't pull away from me. I'm checking you for what? Get your hands away from me. Stop. Stop. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. You want to get tased? You want tased? No. Get on the ground. Get off your hands. Get off your hands. You going after your gun? I'm going to tase you. Put your hands. Give us your hands. Hands. You're going to get it again. Give us your hands. Get my taser.
This video is hard to watch for many reasons. Sergeant Michael Kunovich, whose body camera we're watching, died after this situation. The man charged in his death, 18-year-old Virgilio Aguilar-Mendez, doesn't speak English. Here's how it started. Okay, why, when I was driving around... Stop.
Eating.
Okay, but why did you get up and walk away?
Huh?
When you saw me, you got up and walked away. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
But you go for drink.
His responses aren't all that clear. We showed this video to an immigration attorney.
But this person doesn't appear to be doing anything wrong from this. He's just standing there.
Right. I think there's going to be a lot of litigation as to whether there was a reasonable suspicion that he was committing a crime, was about to commit a crime, or had committed a crime.
Where are you staying? Sleeping?
He points to the Motel 8, and according to this defense motion, he left the motel to eat outside while on the phone with his mother.
Well, why aren't you eating inside? What? Okay, I've got somebody coming.
Kunovich keeps asking him questions and then attempts to search him.
There was no reason to search him in that moment.
Yeah, so if there's no reasonable suspicion that a crime occurred and there's no probable cause that he had a weapon, then you can't search him.
This is where it gets physical.
Don't walk away from me.
No, sorry.
Don't pull away from me.
More units arrive and Aguilar-Mendez is tased several times, all while trying to explain that he doesn't speak English.
Lay on your stomach.
I'm sorry, no speak English.
Lay on your stomach.
Stop.
Roll over.
The sheriff's office says moments after Aguilar-Mendez is in handcuffs, Sergeant Kunovich collapsed, then died at the hospital. The defense says he died of a heart attack.
How will they carry out this aggravated manslaughter? Because...
And they would have to establish that Mr. Aguilar-Mendez, he knew or reasonably should have expected that his act would have caused the death. So that's going to be very difficult.
What else have you found out about him?
So in the defense report, it says that he was here working to send money back to his family and while waiting for a court hearing on his immigration status.
What do you think was going through his head when all of this was happening?
Fear. He answered his questions as best as he could. And as soon as he said, I went to drink and I live right here, it should have ended right there.
1. This sergeant is scary. That voice that he makes is almost demonic sounding at times. It's not really all that hard to imagine that he may have worked himself up a little too hard. 2. Now that we've seen the Kunovich tapes, or at least the part they've made available to us, the question remains, what did Virgilio do to provoke the Sarge's heart attack? 3. I don't want to split hairs, so I'm going to address the fact that yes, some sources state that Kunovich died due to an irregular heartbeat, but this, I believe, is only what provoked the heart attack, heart failure, or whatever you want to call the event that really killed the Sarge. From my knowledge, and do correct me if I'm wrong, an irregular heartbeat alone can't actually cause death directly, but it can help lead to events that cause death, such as a heart attack. Either way, we can see pretty clearly that the kid didn't cause the sergeant's collapse. Cops engage in these kinds of struggles all the time, or they can't go to work as peace officers expecting to avoid them. And so if the sergeant was excessively hard on the boy, that was of his own choosing and doing. 4. According to more than one source, several deputies later remarked having overheard the Sarge previously complaining of back pain as well as respiratory issues like bronchitis. In all likelihood, these symptoms were indicators of a more serious health condition and probably indicative of a cardiac event in the making. Recall that in most cases, serious cardiac events are set in motion long before the condition makes itself fully known. Last but not least, we're left with one looming question, and it regards St. Johns County Sheriff Robert A. Hardwick. At the sergeant's funeral, the sheriff speaks very highly about the late Michael Kunovich, and my problem isn't exactly with that, but their level of camaraderie seems to go beyond what's normal or safe or healthy. In conclusion to this whole thing, let's have a look at what the sheriff told the public in defense of the sergeant's actions in May 2023, as well as the felony homicide charges to follow.
Sergeant Michael Kunovich succumbed basically to some medical issues that actually were induced by the struggle with our subject. Sergeant Deputy Michael Kunovich was legally out with a person that was at a permanently closed business in the area of 16 and 95. He checked out with him simply to say, hey, why are you on this property trespassing? That was a simple thing, simple task. As the body camera footage will come out and show you, it was by the book, textbook, and all the suspect had to do was comply. Instead, the suspect chose to try to remove a knife from its left-hand pocket of his pants, and the struggle was on with Sergeant Michael Kunovich until the next deputy sheriff showed up 37 seconds later.
To the best of your recollection, is that really what happened? The sheriff starts by asserting that Virgilio was trespassing onto a permanently closed property. Was he really? Ironically, perhaps, once he was handcuffed and the deputies proceeded to search their suspect, one of the things they found in Virgilio's pockets was a set of keys for his hotel room at the Super 8. In his speech, the sheriff also states that the body cam footage is going to corroborate his version of events, but if anything, the footage only goes to prove that the man is lying through his teeth. Finally, among other things, the sheriff accuses the so-called suspect, meaning Virgilio, of being uncooperative, which couldn't be further from the truth. He also accuses Virgilio of brandishing a knife at Sergeant Kunovich, which is an act that our body cam footage miraculously contains no evidence of. On that note, let's conclude this story for now. Thanks so much to anyone that made it this far. You're absolutely amazing. And let me just simply say that if you're anything like me and you hate hearing about a story on some channel only to be told that there's a trial pending and then never hearing anything again about what happened, well, do consider subscribing if you haven't already, because even though I can't make any promises, I can tell you that I do try my best to remember to follow up on the stories that I cover, especially when it's a story like this one. But for now, all we can do is wait. So, if you're up for it, stick around, put on another video, and I look forward to seeing you around for the next one. Have a wonderful day or night or what have you, and most importantly, stay safe.